Hello, my name is Eric, and I live in my Subaru Forester. I traveled the country for a year in a little teardrop trailer, and I thought, well, this is so much fun, I should do it in something smaller. So I ditched the teardrop and have decided to move entirely into my car, and just my car. I don't own an apartment, a house, or really anything. Everything I own is basically in that car. So let me show you my little home on wheels and show you how I prepare for off-grid living full-time in my Subaru. And by the way, everything you're going to see in this video will be linked below, so be sure to check out the description for anything you like. You can buy it online. All right, let's start with the vehicle itself. This is a 2020 Subaru Forester Sport. There's really not any major modifications done to this vehicle. Everything you're about to see in this video is really modular. Everything on this car can be taken off in, honestly, probably a half hour or so, and it can go back to the stock level. The only thing that's not stock are these tires here. But let me show you the inside of it and show you how I live in it. So probably the first thing that most people notice are these canisters. I have 2 water canisters on this side, and I have a propane tank on this side. What's holding those on? So I found this really cool company called Orbis Overlanding, and they sell these fabricated steel bars, I guess is the best way to explain it. And they U-bolt to the top of the vehicle and then suction cup with a really strong suction cup to the window, so it's not going anywhere. Let's see if I can, like it's on there really good. And it's specifically made for Subarus, although I'm sure you could probably mount it to almost any vehicle that has some sort of roof rack to it. But they make them for Rotopax, and that's obviously what's on here. But then there's all these extra like little cutouts all over it, so you can see that I've mounted some lights here, and I've mounted a poop shovel. That's mostly what I use that for, but I am on sand today, so if I was to get stuck or anything, I could dig myself out, I guess. These are motion lights. I wanted some sort of lighting outside because I'm often in really, really dark areas when I'm at camp. I do a lot of off-grid camping, so it's very remote, and these are motion lights, so if you walk by it, it'll automatically turn on. These are great. I don't have any wires running to the battery, so it's draining on the car battery itself. These, if an animal was to approach me or anything at night, these would kick on while I'm in the vehicle. If a person was to approach me, these would turn on automatically. And obviously, just for me at camp, when I walk by, the car lights up. It's just easier for me to see. So I love these things. They came in a pack of 4. When you're off-grid living and you're living in your car, it's all about the little things that make things a lot easier, and this is one of them. When it comes to Rotopax, they're really great, but it's kind of a hassle to always take these things off and get to your water source. So I wanted a much easier way. So for me, one of the things that I really wanted to make things easier to get to this water was a spout. And I was lucky to find this. And I really think I bought one of the last ones because last time I checked, it was no longer online. But it's got this nice little cap to keep the spout clean. And it's very simple. You turn this, water just starts coming out. Turn a little bit more water comes out. So it's a pretty simple design. I can take this thing off anytime I want to and just go back to the regular cap, and I can just have the normal water packs. I actually have a second one back here. So these are both 2-gallon water tanks. So I have 4 gallons there. You're going to see later on when we go inside the vehicle that I have another 4-gallon tank. So I'm always carrying about 8 gallons, actually about 9 gallons of water. You see I have another little water thing. Okay, so up here is a road shower. It's a steel tube. It's 4 gallons. The sun beats down on the steel tube, and since it's black, it heats up very, very hot. And it's got a little temperature gauge on there to tell you how hot the water is. You pressurize it with like a bike pump. I have an electric pump, plugs right to the vehicle. And this right here would let the water come out. And I have a RV shower. And bam, I've got a shower on the road. Coming around to this side, again, one of those holders on the side, one of those Orbis Overlanding holders on the side. This one I put my propane tank on. When it comes to cooking, I'm not a big eat out at a restaurant kind of person. I do like to cook a lot, especially on the open road. And these 5-gallon tanks, I have 2 of them, are so much better than those little green 1-pound tanks, because those green 1-pound tanks, first off, are kind of expensive depending on the state you buy them in. In Florida, they're just under $6, I think, each. But I bought them as much as like $12 in states like California and Oregon. So they're very expensive, and they only last me about 3 days. This 5-gallon tank the other day cost me $5 to fill up. So that's much cheaper than the 1-pound ones. And that will last me about 2 to 3 months, depending on, obviously, my usage. But much better deal. I have 2 of those. And I wanted a safe way to transport it. I could have put both of them up in that Thule case up there. But honestly, I wanted to be able to get easy access to it when I cook. So you'll see that I can hook this up to my propane stove. Very simple, and I have I can cook anytime I want to. And then I have another motion light on here, and these are awning poles. So I actually have a tent that's up in the Thule box that I can attach to the back of the vehicle, and I have a nice big covered area for if it's lightly raining or buggy outside. I can open up the tailgate and cook, and it's like a giant net thing that will cover up the whole back area, and I can be outside and there are no bugs and minimal rain will get on me. On the front, the only thing I've added here, you can see, are some lights. These are made by Nilight. I think they were like $45, and it came with 2 and the wiring. And from all the reviews I read, they're pretty good. They're not as good as like the really expensive ones, but they're pretty good for my needs. I needed something at night to light up a really dark campsite when I'm trying to find a place to sleep. And these are great. These will turn on to just bright LED, or it has an amber color, and it has a strobe light effect if you want that. See, told you. And then I added this recovery hook here. I wanted something simple that I can get out of maybe predicaments that I get into, although I'm not going to try to get in any situations where I have to be pulled out, but at least it's here if I need it. I also really like the looks of it. I think it just kind of makes the car look a little sportier. And then up on top, I have this Thule box here, and I have tons of stuff up there. I have all sorts of camping gear. I have a chair. I have my solar panel. I'll show you that in a minute. I have an extra one of these propane tanks. I do actually have a couple of those green tanks up there. Just all sorts of stuff. I don't think I'd be able to do this lifestyle without something on top of my roof carrying a bunch of crap. And on the back of the vehicle, I've added another one of these motion lights. I want it up high so that if I'm at a campsite, I have a nice, easy way to just kind of light up the whole back area, because the back area of the car is where I'm going to spend most of my time. But before we get back there, we'll go inside. We'll start with the driver's seat. All right, let's go ahead and take a peek inside of my home. So this right here is not just a driver's seat. This is my work office. I'll show you in a minute how I set up my laptop to do any kind of work. This is where I'm going to sit at night, I'm sure, to watch movies. It's much more comfortable than laying down and trying to hold your phone up above your head and dropping it on your face. But yeah, over here, I'll have my clothes. I'll get to that in a minute when I get to that side. And when you spin around, I have, of course, my sleeping bag. I'll show you my battery and power source, all that stuff. But if you look up above you, I needed a way to store heavier, bigger items such as jackets and things. And so that's what this is. This is a cargo net that is literally carrying all my winter gear. I have a couple of jackets up there, hoodies, vests. I have not scarves, but hats, beanies, gloves. I have all sorts of stuff up there, and I love this thing. The only thing that kind of sucks about it is it droops down a little bit. It does obstruct my back window here. So driving, it's a little bit of a pain. I have to kind of duck down to see it out of my rear view. But other than that, I do like it. I mentioned earlier that my driver's seat is not only a place where I drive, but it's also my work desk. And that's what this is. I can actually put my laptop right on here, sit in my driver's seat, and work away. So let me go ahead and show you the back side here behind the driver's seat. All right, so this is my fridge area. This is a Ecoflow Glacier. I went with this over Dometic for a couple of reasons. One, it was cheaper. 2, it actually has an ice maker. Yeah, ice on the road, off grid. And 3, it was rated just as high as the Dometics. It's dual zone, so I actually have a freezer side, I have a fridge side, but if I take this out, it'll automatically convert to one big fridge. If you've watched my videos in the past when I was living in my tier job, you know that I did everything in an ice chest when it came to food, and that was a big, big pain. First off, you're having to find ice every few days just so you can keep your food cold, and when that ice melts, it gets into everything. So it was really hard for me to keep meats, or I couldn't keep any kind of dairy or anything, because all that water would then get into that food and then mix around, and it would just be this gross brown water. It was terrible. I hated it. I definitely wanted to do an upgrade this time, so that's why I went with this. Behind the driver's seat, I have this really great carry bag that has all sorts of stuff on it, mostly flashlights, some bug repellent, other kind of camp lights. It gets very dark at camp. I have a toolkit down here. This is my raincoat and rain pants, since I live outside every day. When it rains, I needed something to keep my clothes dry and everything. So I wanted that really easy access, so that's right there. This is the cable to my solar. I'll show you that in a minute. And let's go around to the back. So this is really where I spend most of my time in my car. So for most people, it's all about how do you cook and where do you sleep in your car. And I'll start off with the cooking scenario. So right up here, first off, this is all my dry goods. I don't have much up there right now, but I do have some paper towels and some other dry goods. But all this is going to be dry goods area. I have silverware up here, plates, way to wash dishes, clean dishes, a couple other pieces of silverware and things. Wet wipes. You need wet wipes when you live on the road. But the big thing, of course, is the kitchen. There's a little locking mechanism so it doesn't come out when I'm driving. I've already unlocked it. You pull this out. So first off, you have this nice big area. And originally, this area right here was a sink. I actually have the sink up front. I'll show you that in a minute. But I didn't want the sink right there because the way they position this thing when you buy it is that you can then put water on top of this box and have the water jug just kind of spill into here, and this would be your sink area. But I couldn't do that for my setup because I needed this area to be my dry goods area. So instead, I got this cutting board. It was really big. It actually was as big as this whole thing, and I cut it down. So now I have my cutting board here, and it fits perfectly right in there. So that worked really, really well for me. And then this second drawer, another lock here, pull this out. This is a Coleman 2-burner stove. I like having the 2-burner stove. I am often cooking a couple things at once. So I like that convenience on the road. I can't personally just do like a little jet boil or a little like backpacking stove. For my setup, I needed to actually cook a lot of things at once. I added a little thermometer here, so I always have a little general idea of what the weather is like because I'm often in places with no cell phone coverage. But yeah, when I have that out, this right here, this hose will then attach right up here and I can cook on the road. And back here is all my pots and pans. I have a cast iron in here. I have a nice little camp stove set up that makes it easy for me to cook. This was prefabricated. It came from, of course, Amazon, where everything else comes. I thought about making one myself, but honestly, I do not have the know-how, nor do I have the tools to build something like this. So I found this one. I thought it was very inexpensive for its price and was rated pretty high. But my sleeping area, so this right here is a 10-degree sleeping bag by Sea to Summit. I used to have a 35-degree bag, and you would think that that'd be warm enough. No, 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 no. I have spent many, many cold nights at well below 35. I think the coldest I ever woke up to was 16 degrees. So I needed something much warmer, so I went with this sleeping bag. And this is actually on a platform. First off, let me fold this back. So when it comes to sleeping, I wanted something much more comfortable than an air mattress. I used to sleep on an air mattress when I had my teardrop, and it was fine, but it's an air mattress. It's not nearly as comfortable as a real bed, obviously. So I wanted to kind of prioritize my sleep, and I wanted something that's going to be a little bit more comfortable this time. So I found this company, Deep Sleep, and from all the ratings I've read, everyone says this thing is very comfortable. I have slept on it one night, and of course, it's still not a real bed, but it is the closest thing you're going to find a real bed for nomad living, I think. It is actually a combo air mattress and foam mattress in one. And I think it's about 5 inches thick. I'll give a full review on all these things once I've actually been on the road for a good month or two. I'm just starting out. Today's my first day, actually. So I'll be giving a full review on everything and how I find everything really works for me later on as I get further down my journey. So yeah, this company right here, Deep Sleep, I'm hoping that it works out really well for me. You can see how thick it is. It's just really nice and thick. And if you felt this thing, you'd feel it. It's like got a really good material. It's crazy. All right, so let me show you what this is actually on. I made this little platform for it. It's pretty simple. Back here, underneath here, you can see that I have a couple blankets. You can never really have enough blankets when you live in your car. It gets very cold at times. So I wanted a couple of blankets. I have a fleece blanket and a couple others in there. I even have a sleeping bag liner. And over here, I got some more flashlights. I have some rope just for a camp. I keep a table over here. Actually, the table's right there. See? That's the table. I love that little table. It folds down to nothing. And I have just a towel in here just to wipe up things that might spill in the car or anything. And the nice thing about this platform is I can actually sit on it and enjoy the view. Another thing that I have back here is another one of those motion lights. Yes, there's 4 of them. They came in a pack of 4. I put it right here. I can actually take this off. It's actually just on Velcro. So I can take this off and recharge it. So now, but when it's back here and I turn this on, it won't come on. Oh, it did come on. Sometimes it does come on during the day. But when now I have a way to light up my entire camp area, and I'm not running the dome lights in my vehicle and wasting down my battery. That's always a little bit of a concern. Let's go over on this side. This is my sleeping side. This is usually how I get in to sleep. Down here is kind of like my medicine cabinet, my bathroom. I have a couple contacts things down there. I have a machete. You just don't know when you need a machete against cutting down wood or anything that may attack me. But it's a serrated machete. I hope I never have to use it. I have a fan up here, which I absolutely love. It makes it much more comfortable at night. And if I fold this thing up again, you'll see all the blankets and everything I have down here. So another thing you always have to be thinking about for off-grid living is where do I get my power? And that's what this is. This is a portable power station, much like a Jackery, but for my money, it was actually better. This is 1800 watts, has this nice little light so I can really illuminate my home in the dark if I needed to. It has USB-A, USB-C, several AC ports on here, and it has a 12 volt. And it can be recharged via the solar, which I'll show you in a minute. It's up on the box up above the car. Or I can plug it directly into the wall, and I think it'll recharge the entire thing in like just over an hour, maybe an hour and 10 minutes or something like that. Or I can plug it directly into the car and have the car charge this. I wanted a way to make this not move in transit because when you're driving, everything moves. It is ratchet strapped down to the kitchen area, to that box I showed you earlier. And so this is not going anywhere. I have a carbon monoxide detector because I always got to be thinking about safety. And talking about safety, I also have a fire extinguisher here just in case. I wanted it close by my bed in case I needed to get to it at night. I also have bear spray located all throughout my vehicle. I have it literally on every door side. I have it in the kitchen area, everywhere. Anything ever messes with me, it's going to get doused with bear spray. One thing that I was really trying to consider is, hey, what happens if someone wants to try to travel with me? You're going to see that my passenger side is completely taken up by my closet. So I'm going to show you how I make that happen. So if I ever need to take anybody in the car with me, they wouldn't be able to sit up front because this is my closet. Up here is all my clothes that I basically need, aside from my jackets, which I mentioned earlier, are up there. The nice thing about this closet is if I need to, it comes out easily. So what happens if someone needs to get in my car and ride with me? Well, I can actually fold my bed back. So I put this thing on hinges back here, and now this folds back, and that seat can slide back, and I can actually move my entire closet back here. Some of the other things I keep on the passenger side is another thing of water. This is another 4 gallons. This is just a little 1 gallon, and the reason I have this with me is because this is so much easier, first off, to take it to the back when I need to cook, but also when I go into places like gyms or welcome centers or anything like that to fill up water, carrying that 4 gallon or even these 2 gallon Rotopax is kind of a pain. So I love carrying this thing and refilling at usually just like water fountains. This is so much easier to tilt into a water fountain refill, and then 1 gallon will serve me for a little while. Here's my collapsible sink, and I have some shoes down here. All right, I'm not gonna go through everything in my toolbox. It's honestly quite boring. It's a lot of just extras like shoes and a tent and backpacks and other things like that. But I do keep 2 things up there. One of them is my solar panel, and the other one is a nice rocking chair for camp. There is my solar panel, and there's my chair. Solar panel obviously runs right into the battery. And voila, I can charge my battery, charge my home while I'm at camp. Well, that's it. That is a tour of my little home and how I escape normal life. I'll be living in this full time as I travel across the country for the foreseeable future. I really do not have an end date. If you like what you see, please do all the things, like, subscribe, and share. And please escape normal life anytime. I'll be posting a lot more as I travel across America full time in my car.